guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Medic Monday. Today we got something a little different for you. Today I have a guest with me. His name is Vincent. I met him at the gym. He is a tall man. And why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit. Yep, can't talk today. A little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Well, I'm a former Staff Sergeant in the United States Army, newly retired. I retired in January of 21. At the moment, I am a stay-at-home dad and a student. While I served in the Army, I was a 13 Bravo, which is a field artillery crew member. And from there, I transitioned to the IT world, where I was certified as a information technology specialist. I also served 4 years as a special operations soldier. And just before I retired, I was a jungle survival instructor, where I basically taught people how to survive from a primitive standpoint, basically bowl of broccoli or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect storm of things. I do agree that people today just don't want to do things. I've seen it in public safety. You know, it's weird to think that I'm almost an older generation of firefighter, but I do see a difference because now I'm coming in, and there are kids that are coming in that are 12 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Just starting, and I still feel like I'm like in the thick of it. Like I don't feel like I'm not an older guy. There's older people in there, but it's like I see a huge difference. And I've had people even say things like to officers, like they'll come in and the officer will be like, "Hey, do whatever," and they're like, "Oh, whatever," blah blah blah. I'm just like,
yeah,
you just said that to an officer, and then nothing happened, like because they can't, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do feel like that is some of it. I think. One of it, another thing is that kids today, people today in general, don't believe in anything anymore. Like there's not really there's threats all over the world, but there's not really a threat. Like it's not like, hey guys, we all need to go serve our country, because if not, Hitler's going to take us over. He's taken over the whole world.
Yeah.
And you don't have those maps with like the fire growing with the Nazi swastika or whatever.
Like, constantly spreading.
There's like, we got to go kill this guy. And it was like, all right, let's go kill some Germans. Like, and kids would lie about their age to get into the military.
Yes.
They would commit suicide if they were
denied. Yeah.
And it was like, this is my duty. And now I think maybe we saw a little bit of resurgence after that because of 9/11. And everybody had this sense of duty of like, man, like we got to go get this guy. Then we found out it was basically a lie. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Wait a second. This is the guy that terrorized us. Why are we in 10 other countries? And then I think, so part of it is we just don't believe anything anymore. Nobody believes in the war in Ukraine. You're going to ship me. I want to sign up so you can ship me out to Ukraine to fight Russians.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to ship me to, the Middle East again, where we just conquered like all this land and took it over and set stuff up, and then just withdrew, and they took it back, and now you want me to go back?
Yeah.
So I think that's the second part of it. And I think the third part of it is we have been generically peaceful for so long that there hasn't been a need to fight.
You took the words right out of my mouth. There's no need to be patriotic anymore.
Yeah.
There's no more love for country. You know, a lot of Americans nowadays, this younger generation, they don't necessarily know what it's like to struggle.
Right.
And not to say that struggling is a good thing, it's a bad thing, but to an extent, you always want to have some kind of good stress put on you. You know, when you go to the gym and you work out, that's good stress being put on the body. It literally makes you bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah. You know, and if you are going through depression, on the other side of depression, you know, it makes you mentally and emotionally stronger than you were the previous day.
You can clinically cure depression with working out. Clinically.
Yes.
Like you are giving your body and your mind literal drugs that your body has in itself.
Yes, your body will produce it by its own itself.
Pulling it out internally and injecting it into yourself.
Yes.
And it cures depression.
Yes.
This is not like...
That is the definition of physical therapy.
Yes. It's crazy to me that the amount of mental problems we have, that I have seen a resurgence of working out. It does seem to be like starting to get popular on social media, TikTok. It's like started with like all the girls wanted the squat booty, but now it's like you're starting to see a lot of young kids, which is good.
Yeah.
But I don't want anything bad to happen. So I'll go ahead and say, let me say that I'm not praying for the apocalypse. I'm not praying for this, but doesn't it kind of seem like something needs to happen to kick people into high gear?
Well, that's kind of where I was hoping that you were going to go to, because with what you have on the screen, the immigration, what's going on with everybody crossing the border and stuff, you've already mentioned it, that there are several high terroristic people that have entered the country, and something is definitely going to happen soon.
Yeah.
And one of the scarier things that I definitely wanted to bring to your attention, especially today, is two young men that go to the gym. I'm not going to give names because I don't want anybody to target them. But these two young men, one is 21 or 22, and the other one is 27. But they are of two military age males that primarily deal with weapons and weapons tactics, and ask me 1,000,001 questions fairly often about military tactics and drills and stuff like that. You've definitely seen them before.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And talking to these two young guys a couple of nights ago, they were asking me, how do I feel about the immigration laws and how President Biden has opened up the borders and stuff like that. And I was like, me being an old soldier combined with a conspiracy theorist and having served 21 plus years in the military.
Yeah. You're not a conspiracy theorist. You're a coincidence noticer.
I'll take that. I'll take that. But right now, to date, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm certain it's over 1 million immigrants that have entered the country within the last 2 years.
We've got it. We've actually got those stats.
Okay.
Actually, go to the it may be on here. This is something I wanted to get into. We actually have the stats on the
excellent
the second article, I believe. Talks about. So with this article, I wanted to get more into the actual terrorists that are coming over. So we'll just go and do this article first, and then I'll go into the taxpayer one.
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, it's like I kind of want to say like, I don't want to scare people, but I'm beyond that point now, and I want to scare people, because if you're scared, you might do something about it.
When you're scared, your natural fight or flight scenario is gonna kick in, and the best case scenario is the people will fight.
Yeah, and
you don't want them, to just go out and what's the word? You don't want them to just randomly start racially profiling people and hurting people unjustly. But going into the conversation I was having with the two young guys was, if anybody was to invade America, not just the United States, I'm saying America, regardless of what landmass you're talking about. If anybody was to invade America, well, let's just say right here, North America, if anybody was to come over here, which statistically speaking, they already have.
They already have.
Yeah, and we were to start World War III. As an American, I'm a black guy, you're a white guy. There's a Puerto Rican guy next door. There's an Asian guy next door. There's 2 Arabic guys, 2 doors down, whatever the case may be. We know each other. We're okay.
Yeah.
Now, if Russia was to come over here to invade the U.S., most black people, or black people, brown people, most white people in the U.S., we don't know if you're Russian or you're just a regular white guy from around the corner.
Yeah, right.
And if
you say we all look alike,
no, not at all, not at all, not at all. But what I'm saying, when your senses are heightened like that, and
Yes.
that fear and adrenaline is kicking in. You can't tell,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's a to an extent it's a first come first serve. I'd rather get rid of you than try to figure out whether or not you're a friend or foe. And it's the same thing with if anybody from an Asian country was to come over here. Yeah, I have Asian friends, but if you're standing next to 1,000 other Asian people,
Yeah.
and there's no uniform to differentiate between friendly or enemy, I'm spraying the whole lot.
And,
I'm not gonna.
The people coming over the border are not wearing uniforms,
Exactly.
and they're not
Exactly.
all Mexican.
Yes.
Have you seen?
Yes, I have. Yes, I
Like,
have.
There are thousands of Africans,
Mm-hmm.
like coming
They-
from.
Most of them are in Detroit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is wild.
Yeah.
There's Asians. There's like bundles of
Yes.
people that are just.
All of the foreign countries that the U.S. have had political conflicts with over the last 15 years, those are the countries whose people are being sent over here by the busload.
And it's not even like a there's certain countries that might scare you more,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like it's not even like I hate to say it like in a racial profiling way, but like I saw a video of illegal border crossings, and it was 2,000 to 3,000 Middle Eastern
Mm-hmm.
men
It's not racial profiling if it's fact.
with no wives,
Mm-hmm.
no children with them.
All military age males.
And I was like, what is happening? Where are you coming from? Oh, I'm coming from Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm coming. And I'm like, they're just walking over.
Yeah.
And
With that, do you know that 9 out of 10 of them, I don't know if it is fact for the Arabic people the Middle Eastern people that come over here, but I'm certain for all of the Africans that are in the Midwest right now, they have UN debit cards. And with those UN debit cards, they have anywhere between like $9,000 to $10,000 already on those cards.
Yeah.
And then most of them have already, not to say claimed political asylum,
mhm.
but they've already came over here with the necessary paperwork to be front loaded to get a HUD house, to be put on food stamps
Yep.
and all this other kind of stuff. So they have vouchers on top of vouchers on top of vouchers, and they have several grand in the form of a credit card before they even get here.
Yep.
And what makes matters even worse is that Biden has towards the end of last year, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, President Biden has taken away the immigration laws where immigrants cannot purchase weapons.
Yeah.
They can, as long as you have the money, you don't need to properly identify yourself. Normally you have to show driver's license, weapons card, or something like that to purchase anything. Like, no, they're like, hey, I want that bazooka sitting right there behind you. It's $1,000. Okay, here's the money. Put it in the bag. I'll take it.
They're on. Well, the other thing too is that, like we pulled this article up, I think a couple of Medic Mondays ago, about the airplanes. Like they have a special line where these it was these United maybe Airlines, TSA. They had their own line. Oh, if you're a legal immigrant, come here. They were the TSA workers were taking pictures and leaking them. Like, look at this passport. It's not even a passport. It's a legal immigrant. It says, I don't speak English. I'm here as illegal immigration status, whatever. No name given.
Get out of here.
Putting them on the plane. And then Tim Pool was the one that I heard talk about this. He had bought a first class ticket because he was flying around. He's a famous podcaster. He flies around everywhere. He bought a first class ticket. He goes up and they said, hey, we had to move you back to coach. And he's like, oh, I paid for a first class ticket. They didn't reimburse him. They didn't do anything.
Wow.
Turns out because first class is separated, they put all the illegal immigrants in first class. So it is a little weird because they're like, oh, they're shipping them first class to these places. And they are, but it's because they're trying to keep them separated or whatever. And these pilots are like, I don't know who's on my plane.
Yeah.
Like, it literally says no name given. But I wanted to talk about the actual numbers. So if you go over here, it says confirmed over, and this is December 2023. So this is a more recent article.
Couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the article before this was from September, and this is like a newer one. So I kind of wanted to hit the article before this first because it's gonna sound like I'm jumping conversations though.
Yeah.
So we'll just go ahead and do it. Sorry for the weird digression in the conversation.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to build up to kind of what we were just talking about.
Okay.
And let's talk about the cost of illegal immigration to taxpayers, because this sounds boring, right? But from my perspective, from a firefighter, from somebody that when you call 911, I'm on the other end.
Yeah.
People don't realize how much that affects you.
Mm-hmm.
So, this was posted. This is January 11th, 2024. Wait a second.
2 weeks ago.
So go down real quick. One thing I wanted to bring in contrast is the median American household income is about, there's rough estimates, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's rich people, there's poor people, there's people that make less, there's people that make more. The median household income is about $67,000 to
oh no, that's definitely
to 74.
That's definitely lower than that.
Median. So it's the average. So there's billionaires that's getting averaged in with people that are on welfare.
Okay.
So the average family income of the middle class in America is about 67 to 74.
Okay.
About. So, scroll down to where the net negative of, and this is from judiciary.house.gov. This is a government website, so I'm not just pulling these numbers out of my butt.
Mm-hmm.
So education level, we estimate lifetime fiscal drain, taxes paid on the second paragraph there, minus cost for each illegal immigrant is about $68,000.
So sounds about right.
This is crazy. So based on the use of a rate of major welfare programs, we estimate the illegal immigrants receive $42 billion in benefits, or 4% of the total cost of cash, Medicaid, food, housing programs examined in our study. And it's, of course, a rough approximation. We don't know how many people are in the country. This is the thing, is when we talk about these numbers, this is what we know.
Yeah.
So one thing, what happens right now, you have an emergency. Oh, my chest is hurting, I can't breathe. You call 911. What happens? Somebody shows up, right?
Yeah.
I show up. I'm like, hey, got a call. You're having chest pains, right? What happens when a homeless man that has no money calls 911? Do you know?
No, honestly, I don't.
We show up. We treat the homeless guy. He's got no money. He's got what's going to happen to him? We're going to put him in an ambulance that costs $2,000, $2,500 a ride.
Yes.
We're going to take him to the ER where he's going to be seen by a doctor that makes six-figure salary, whatever. Mm-hmm. Oh, he needs surgery. He needs this. Guess what? We're putting him under. He's emergency. He's getting a surgery. He's going to go in post-recovery. He's going to get discharged. He's going to go right back on the street.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to send a bill. There's nowhere whatever. So the hospital takes that bill and sends it to the government and says, hey, this is our net loss, so we don't want to be taxed on this if we didn't make any profit.
Yeah.
And the government and a lot of hospitals are receive government grants to make that money up, right? So what happens when an illegal immigrant calls 911?
Same process.
We show up.
Yeah.
We take them to the hospital. We treat them. Oh, you're having an allergic reaction. Here's some adrenaline. Oh, or epinephrine. You're having this. You broke your foot. You do whatever. You go in. You get surgery. You get discharged. You do whatever. It's the same thing that happens. Now, we had, I believe in the last 3 years, 8 million illegal immigrants. 3 years, 8 million illegal immigrants. Now, I want to put something in perspective here. When COVID hit, there were departments all over the country that were making people take the vaccine, or quit, and a lot of them quit.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I don't want to say my department affiliation, but here in the state that we're in, the local hospitals that we transport to, like if you called 911, this would be the hospital we'd take you to right now.
Yeah.
Most of the nurses quit because it was vaccine or quit.
Wow.
We're to the point where I remember being on shift and a call coming out and being like, we have to wait for them to clear the hospital because there's not enough nurses to take care of them to take the patient from us. So we're in a waiting game. It never got to the point where it was like nobody's showing up.
Yeah.
But I'm talking 2 people calling 911 away from that, from us being like, hey, nobody's showing up. Now, some states that are more...
Or like nobody showing up from your department, like we can't facilitate that call?
Nobody is showing up. Nobody's coming for you. So
somebody can be laid out in the street bleeding out and people are calling saying we need an ambulance and blah, blah, blah. And
this is it. Ran a shooting.
Yeah.
45 minutes for the first response. Nobody was there. People don't know that this is what was happening, and this is just COVID. This was 4 years ago. Now we have 8 million people. That is more than 20, I believe, the population of 20 states in America.
Yeah. Well, that's
added.
I didn't know it was that many.
People don't realize that we are on razor thin margins as far as public safety goes. And then now you're talking about your recruitment issues. We're having the same problems. So not only are people not signing up to do the job anymore, not only are the hospitals understaffed because nobody wants to do that anymore. On top of that, it was a perfect storm of take the vaccine or quit, and everybody was like, I'm quitting.
Yep.
So now not only are we not getting people in, people are leaving.
Yeah.
So our local hospital right here, the one that you would go to if you call 911, they built this brand new wing, right? I forgot. They were like, it's like quadruple the amount of beds, stuff like that. Whatever. We were transporting people there and waiting. I waited with a trauma car accident patient where both of his ankles are turned out. Back is whatever. A legit trauma. We waited for an hour and 45 minutes before we could even get a doctor to come in. And that's like that guy's like priority.
Wow.
So again, I'm not doing this as like a fear porn thing.
Yeah.
But you people don't realize how razor thin the margins already are. And you add the population of 20 U.S. states just out there.
Yeah.
And they aren't like, I mean, they're working, but they're not. They're a net loss. Like according to the numbers, one American household is less, pulling in less income than what one illegal immigrant costs per year, and we have 8 million. How is this sustainable?
Well, that's the thing. It's not meant to be sustainable. If you're a conspiracy theorist or what do you call it, a coincidence
noticer,
coincidence noticer, if you're one of those kind of people, then you will take into account that everything that has been happening over the course of the last 10 years, America has financially been strategically destroying itself.
Yeah.
You know, with all of the illegal immigrants coming in and then we're housing them, we're taking care of them. Somebody has to pay for that.
Yeah.
The American taxpayers are going to pay for it.
Yep.
Now, you can pay for it or you can file your taxes or not, but when you do file your taxes, you're more than likely not going to get the return that you thought you were going to get, or all of the money that's already been taken out of your check. They're going to start taking more because more and more people are starting to show up, which is going to put us further into a depression. And then when things start to cost extra, the wages aren't matching.
Yep.
So now when the civil service workers like us start quitting because now we have to find an additional 3, 4, 5 other sources of income. Now, if the proverbial crap hits the fan and things magically start blowing up, well, you as a firefighter, you're not going to stay at your station. You're gonna go, you're gonna go home and secure your family.
Yeah.
The same thing with every other cop. Same thing with every other military or law enforcement and doctors and all. They're not going to stay in the hospitals. That's stupid. And that's where the legit scare kicks in.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't realize that, because my number one concern, even if I was in the military, if I'm not already what's called downrange, then whatever's happening at home mama has to take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm home and I'm 10 miles down the road on base at work and I'm just training and I'm at home and the crap hits the fan 4 blocks from the house,
I'm out.
I don't exactly. I know you're my commander. I know you're in charge of me. You're giving me my orders. Stay at work, gear up. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Mom and the kids at home. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
So that is going to be like that for all men across the board, all walks of life here in the U.S. My priority is not staying in this uniform and going to work to take care of somebody else's family because somebody else got hurt. Like, no, I have to go home and I have to secure my household. And then if my household is okay, I'm not going to call because the phone lines might not work.
Yeah.
You know, and how am I going to confirm that my family is happy, healthy, fun-loving, the same way they were when I left to go to work? I need to confirm that they're the same way. And if they're not, then I have to take whatever measures that I have to take.
I don't think people realize the severity of the situation.
Mm-mm.
And the fact is we've had we've scratched the surface of what a societal breakdown looks like during the BLM riots, during Chop Chaz, autonomous zones. Those people were in an area. There's stories of people stuck in the apartments up in Seattle.
Yeah.
They didn't want anything to do with that. Some people just came and took over their block and said, you're not going anywhere. And then that dude, the rapper guy that was became the self-proclaimed warlord of the area, got him and his posse together. Somehow they got AR-15s in a not gun-friendly state.
Not
and they took
difficult.
it over.
To get a weapon.
Over. Well, I know.
It's not difficult at all.
The point is, the first thing they did was build a wall and then have weapons.
Yeah.
And they were reports of women being raped in there, and they were calling 911, and 911 said, sorry.
Can't do nothing
You're in
about
the
it.
autonomous zone.
Yeah.
And whenever COVID hit, people don't realize how close they were to you calling 911. Some people got very delayed. And nobody coming. Like, nobody is coming for you. And that was, I've had several experiences in my life where I've been trapped in riots. I've worked riots. I've worked active shootings. I've been not involved in active shootings.
Yeah, I got you.
Been there, responded to.
Yeah.
I have been in one that broke out around me, and everything goes out the window, and you don't realize how truly animalistic people become and how fast. And I'll give you an example. I can't say without giving away my department, but there was a massive blackout at a major airport. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it was international news. I was there for that.
Okay.
I'm actually the one that went down to the tunnels of the airport to put out that fire from the explosion. So
Wow.
I was there.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was terror. So it wasn't. It was an electrical thing. But nobody knew what it was. But it's a high profile story. We go in there. It happened around 10:30 in the morning. They moved everybody to a safe zone. A bunch of people just bounced, including police.
Yeah.
Thinking this is terror. They said what me and you just said. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, this is not worth it for me. So it was left up to fire and some airport security that happened to stay and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, around 3 or 4 o'clock, people were raiding the restaurants for food. We're talking hours without food.
Yeah.
People were getting in fist fights over bags of chips from like the little concession stands.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I saw 2 dads, and he's like, my kids are hungry. I'm like, dude, it's been a couple hours, and the lights are off. That's it.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A ended up bringing 2,800 sandwiches. So they just showed up in vans, started loading it. They were like, we don't know what to do with this, but we brought this for people. We made a giant pile. There were people lined up. Some people didn't speak English. They don't understand the concept of lines. They don't live in the society that we live in. They don't even, they come from a country where you don't even drive on the same side of the road.
Yeah.
Nothing translates. So when everybody's lined up, they don't have what's the word you use? The intellectual
the intellectual capacity
to understand, like, oh, let me fall into this line. Well, this guy comes up and he's like, "Oh, thank you." Knows how to say thank you. Grabs a sandwich. I'm like, "Oh no, you gotta go wait in line because we're handing out these sandwiches." Some dude from the back of the line's like, "Hey, that guy can go up here and get a sandwich. I'm doing it too." He leaves the line and comes down. Dude, I'm saying those two guys. It was everybody freaked. I'm not gonna get food.
Instant anarchy,
dude. Everybody flooded the thing. My officer's like, "Just stand back." Everybody was, I was watching trampling food, like trying to get food, fighting, ripping. And we just watched an entire group of people without lights for 4 hours destroy everything.
Yeah.
And I thought in that moment, I looked at all this and I thought, can you imagine a major city, a small city, where the lights go out for a couple days and people know police aren't coming and nobody's coming. It's not going to be, oh, we'll lock ourselves in our house. We'll eat what we have in the pantry, but eventually we'll have to scavenge out and get food. No, people will be kicking in your door that night.
Yes.
It's not even a question.
And funny you bring that up. In where I live, I'm a part of the not the neighborhood watch, but the neighborhood chat group or whatever like that. And last year, the power went out, just like a bad thunderstorm or whatever. Power was out for one complete day, but everybody, was still charging their phones in their car and stuff. And the neighbors, people on that app were literally asking who has water, who has food, who has a gas stove, so that way I can cook cook food for my family. And I'm like, it's one day. You can go in the backyard, throw your grill on. Your grill still works, whether you got propane or charcoal or whatever.
Build a fire.
Yes. But that's one of the many things that my wife is like, if something like that was to happen, like whether it's terroristic or not, I hunt, I fish, I have several water collection containers in the yard. So I have several hundreds of rainwater. I grow a lot of the food that we eat. So from being hungry or whatever like that, we won't go hungry. That's for sure. Yeah. And
we may not eat as much, but we won't starve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the average American, most people don't think to do that.
Yeah.
Well, they don't think to self-sustain. It has nothing to do with the government collapsing or nothing like that. But a lot of people, it's just simple American privilege.
Yeah.
That the average American, you were raised in a household.
Yeah.
You got a roof over your head. You have clothes on your back. You have money in your pocket. You have the internet, TV, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So for your comforts to be taken away, and now you have to like we're talking about with Gen Z, this new generation, now you have to physically get up and work for something. A lot of these people you just can't go without. Like think about when you're driving in your car and somebody cuts you off and they're in such a rush to get to that light as it's yellow. Like you're in a rush to go nowhere fast.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? So now you don't cut me off and you're still stuck in the same exact position that you still would have been in if you were behind me. So
and people kill over
changes. Yes.
I mean, you don't realize. So to get back to the immigration thing.
Yeah.
Legit, what we just talked about, that's just Americans. Right? Add 20 more states, United States populations on top of that don't know your culture, that maybe are willing to go farther than your neighbors are. Yeah. They don't know you.
Yeah.
They have nothing already. They're already here. We're not even talking about, so that's just raw population. So one, nobody's coming for you.
Yep.
No, there's no 911. Even during COVID, we almost had no 911, but it was there. You're talking 20 states worth of illegal immigration. Now, this is already devastating with no ill intent. Really. Let's assume that every illegal immigrant is, hey, I'm just here for a better life. It's still a problem, right?
Well, I was about to say, clarify no ill intent.
So, well, that's what I'm going to get into because
Okay.
that's what the article's about.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay.
So let's. I'm giving everybody the benefit of the doubt right now. We're
All right.
happy. We're everybody.
You're better than me.
These people want, and this isn't my normal position. I'm just devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Everybody here is just wants a better life. Everybody just wants to be happy and be here. They will still turn on you in a heartbeat, as will Americans if something goes south.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's take the people that are coming over with ill intent,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have the numbers, I believe, on the illegal immigrants that came over on the terror that are on the terror watch list that we literally grabbed at the border and we were like, oh, this guy's on the terror watch list.
Yeah.
And I believe it's 170 per year for the last 3 years. I saw one that was a little more generous. It was like 200 or something over the last 3 years. But they were like, that's like the base level of we grabbed them. They had actual intent or something on them to hurt other people.
Yeah.
3 CBP arrested 35,433 illegal immigrants with convictions. Oh, so that's just convicted.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is, right there on the bottom. 294 illegal aliens on the terror watch list have been apprehended at the southwest border between the port of entry since 2021. So this is 3 years.
So 3 years ago. Yeah.
Within 3 years, 294. That's worse than I thought. And this is something I did this little thought exercise just off camera a couple days ago when we were talking about this. Keep in mind, these are the ones we caught.
So if you do the math, that's close to that's roughly 8.5 to 9 people every month for 3 years running.
Yes. So here's what's.
Oh God, that's scary.
So how many people? So during 9/11, we had what? Two hijackers per plane.
Yeah, two to 5.
2 to 5 per plane, right?
Yeah.
So if you did the math, these are the ones we caught. So just definitive numbers. It's obviously way worse, considering. So 35,000, over 35,000 with illegal aliens with criminal convictions. 294 of those are. So take that number, 35,000 to 294.
Yeah.
Make it 8 million. How many have we missed? I mean,
at least 500,000.
So let's just pretend this is fantasy world again. It's only 294. We caught 100% of them, right?
Yeah.
That's 6 terrorists per state if they were to be spread out. We have more terrorists that we just caught on the illegal watch list than there were hijackers during 9/11 that did all that damage per state, for every state. You could potentially have a more well thought out force in every single state than all of 9/11.
Oh, I strongly believe that there are cells everywhere.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. That's more so why I do the things that I do to ensure that my family's okay.
Yeah, and I don't have the articles up, but the statistics on if something were to go down, like the people trapped in the inner cities, most of them are just going to die. I believe it's 80%.
What?
No water, no way to get, like, you're like, oh, we have a place there's no where to grow food. There's no nothing. They're 100% reliant on
Walmart.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Walmart is going to get ransacked day one.
World War Z.
What?
You seen World War Z with Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
That was the big thing. Like, my daughter needs this medication, so he goes in there, and it's being ransacked. People are going crazy. He hears gunshots. Somebody shot somebody. They don't show it. And then he's running and grabbing all the stuff, and he has a gun, and he runs into the cop, and the cop, like, looks at him, and they look at each other for a second.
And they had their
And then the cop turns and starts grabbing all the stuff off the shelf, too.
Yeah.
Like, Walmart is, I use the term the cornucopia, and it comes from the Hunger Games, where they're like, you're going to go to they're going to drop you in here. You're going to see the cornucopia. It's going to have a bow. It's going to have food. Don't go there.
Yep.
Get into the woods. Figure it out later. But this is what really, really scares me. everything that we talked about, the fact that 911 won't be there and that we're already there.
Yeah.
People like this is dystopian sci-fi. No, it's not.
No.
It's here right now.
Combine two movies. Cause you mentioned World War Z.
Mm-hmm.
Combine two movies. Have you ever seen the movie just recently came out? The Obamas.
Leave the world behind. We were just talking about that before.
Just watched it last night.
Yeah.
As we were watching that movie, there's a lot of subliminal things in that movie that the average person kind of skipped over. But if you look at it from a terroristic standpoint and you want to break America down from the inside out, how that movie lays it out, it's, my opinion, it's from a strategic standpoint, it's perfect. Because the people themselves, like you've seen in the movie, and like you just said in World War Z, whether you're the average civilian or whether you're a law enforcement, you're going to be a human, a father, a husband, a family person first. And then every other walk, every other aspect of your life, that's what comes second.
Yeah.
So if you're hungry, cool. As dad, how am I going to feed my family? If you're thirsty, cool. As dad, how am I going to ensure that everybody has, a gallon of water a day for however long you need it?
Yeah.
How am I going to make sure that I have Tylenol? Because I don't know what plants Tylenol comes from.
Yeah.
So how am I?
It's not kudzu in Georgia, that's for sure.
Exactly. So a lot of things in that movie, it's super scary to think about it happening in the U.S. But then even still with that movie, you don't know who the actual enemy is because they never showed it.
Yeah.
But they hinted to China. They hinted to Russia. They hinted to the Arabic nations.
Yeah.
And those are all the people that are coming into the country right now. And then
that's what scared me because of who produced it. Like, this guy knows.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
he knows the classified information.
Yes, and that's another thing that had my panties in a bunch, so to speak, because I'm like, this is the former leader of the free world.
He knows
that had full 2 terms back to back. So it's not like he went in for 4 years, took 4 years off, and then went back. Like, no, he was there for both full terms with, I'm not going to say any issues, but he took out. Under his leadership, he took out one of the biggest terrorist groups in the world.
Yeah.
He got Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is a guy that if he had a manifesto, wrote out how he would break down America from the inside out, and you put all of that stuff in the movie. I'm not saying that that's what happened.
Dude,
but
I think that's what happened. That movie scared me because of who produced it.
Yes.
And the way they systematically did it. And what got me was, like, we were talking about being prepared. Like, that was the unprepared family.
Yes.
And so for me, like, what you're saying, like, you're at work or whatever and you just got to bounce. Like, my big question there was, like, how long till people make a move? Me and you are on a different level than most people, but those guys were like, oh, there's no self-service. That's weird. Let's play a board game.
Yes.
And it got all the way to the point where, this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. I highly encourage you to go watch the movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. You've been warned. Okay.
You have 3 seconds to go watch the movie
to stop
now.
the thing. Exactly. So
push pause.
Yeah. So, and by the end of the movie, they're in such denial all the way up until they're in the woods and they see the bombs dropping. And that was and everybody, like, you guys were just saying, like, the end of the movie sucked. I was like, no, that's how it will be.
I don't think that those were bombs actually dropping.
Really?
I think that was society breaking down, because they were there at that house for almost a week. And I think that for them to be on the outskirts on an elevated level, they were able to look down at the city. And they were literally, because think about all of the Tesla vehicles that blocked the exit leaving the city. So even when they tried to leave the country to go back to the city, they couldn't. So they would have been caught up in all of the craziness that was going on in the city. So even when they were looking down, you hear the gunshots and all that stuff going off. You hear the helicopters, surveying the area to see what was going on. And that was them, my opinion, that was them legit looking at the societal breakdown from the outside looking in. And then them being where they were, the hardest part of their day was, we have no cell service. The TV's not on. We don't have internet or whatever. We don't necessarily know what's going on in the world at this moment. Yeah. But I do know that the animals are acting weird. Yeah. I do know that looking at the city, I see the helicopters circling the city and random buildings are starting to blow up, and I'm hearing gunshots and I'm hearing police sirens and I'm hearing people screaming. And we're several, I'd say, well, from the military, it'd be several clicks, but we're like 50, 60, 100 plus miles away, and we can hear the chaos that's going on where we literally were just trying to get to, but we couldn't because it's so chaotic there. It's starting to slowly but steadily trickle out to where we're at. Yeah. But the only reason why they couldn't get back because all of the Tesla vehicles magically malfunctioned and blocked off their exit.
Elon Musk debunked that. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He posted this long thing. He's like, that would never happen because of X, Y. He gave his nerdy, whatever, autistic answer. But either way, like what you're talking about, like it may not have been bombs. That's my point still stands. It was that moment of them looking at that, and it took that for them to be like, oh, this is real. Despite what you said, all the signs are there. Yes. Oh, we don't have this. So that's going to be the big question for people is like, when do you make your move of like, you're at work downtown in your skyscraper, office building, whatever, power goes out. Oh, it'll be on in a minute. I have no cell phone signal. It's okay. It'll probably kick back on. What are we going to do at work? My boss isn't letting me go. Whatever. And, you've got to do what's best for you. And I got trapped out in Snowpocalypse. We just hit our 10-year anniversary, didn't we?
Yep, 10 years.
10 years. 10-year anniversary of Snowpocalypse. Were you living here?
No, not then.
Okay, so we had Snowpocalypse. There was no snow. It was a solid blanket of ice.
Really?
Covered everything. All the power went out. I got trapped out. The highways were down. They tried to recall our governor over it. And people died because nobody could get home. There were old ladies like stuck in their car and they just died.
Wow.
People were running out of gas. I was a little more prepared for it and stuff. And I always carry bug out bags, always carry this stuff. But it got to the point where I had to make that choice. This is very, very dumbed down of what we're talking about. Yeah. But it was that moment of my boss being like, no, you don't get to get off work early. And I was like, look, I live an hour and a half away from here. And my wife is saying that things are freezing over now. So even if things here are fine, like I'm in trouble when I get home. Yeah. Because it's ice. Yeah. And he was just like, delayed. And I should have left earlier. I should have just been like, look, dude, dock my pay, do whatever you got to do, but I got to get home. Yeah. And I didn't. And then the snow, it was like rain came. And what the governor did was said, this is a problem. Release everybody. All the schools got let out at the same time. All the businesses shut down. And it created this mass chaos where it was like, you've seen the picture of The Walking Dead where he's standing on the bridge. And there was that same road looked just like that. People just trapped completely out. Cars in ditches. It was chaos. And they wanted to actually recall our governor over that decision. And it was bad. But that is what a breakdown will look like. And we keep going back to this breakdown thing. And we haven't even gotten to the point where I'm talking 8 million people that we don't know, over 8 million, because those are the people that we know about, crossing that don't know our society, that have probably been fending for themselves against cartels and things like this. There is no neighborly love. There is no American love. Shoot, I almost wish we would have had the Civil War trailer reaction today, but I got to save that for Brian. Brian's like amped about that. Right. There's a movie coming out called Civil War. I don't know if you've seen the trailer.
No, I haven't. I'll check it out later. I'll check it out later.
You watch it because I got to do a genuine reaction with my other co-host, Brian. But it's a movie coming out, and it's literally about the next American Civil War.
Okay.
And there's a scene where one of the guys says like, "Hey, whoa, calm down, like we're American," and the guy's like, "Okay, what kind of American? Like which American?"
I have seen that trailer.
Bro,
I have seen that trailer.
that movie
Yeah.
is like rocking me right now. And
Yeah.
the crazy part is that trailer came out before all this stuff.
Yeah.
So we're at the point now where Texas is saying, so Texas was putting up barriers. The Biden administration came in and actively took down barriers to let people in.
Yeah.
Then Texas says, hey, screw you guys. We're doing it anyways, putting it up. Biden says, well, I'm sending Border Patrol agents to arrest any Texas State Patrol that is caught doing this.
Yeah.
Texas State Patrol says, bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cold civil war.
Yes.
You have
without question.
20 states signed a petition to come in and support them.
Yep.
So first you had Oklahoma and Florida sending National Guard down there to assist Texas. Now we have 20 states.
Yeah.
Georgia being one of them. Basically all this South and Midwest.
Yeah.
All signed in saying like, hey, this affects all of us. We're sending in people. Biden, this happened 2 days ago. Biden's federal state patrol or National Guard,
Yeah.
shows up to do like, I was thinking like, this is it. This is going to be the shot heard around the world. Two opposing ideologies disagreeing on this. It's going to get physical. Like they're going to go in and try to tear this stuff down. They're saying no. Somebody's going to try to arrest the other person, and we're going to have a shot heard around the world. Turns out the Biden administration's federal National Guard comes in and said, hey, we're not enforcing any of that guy's stuff.
Yeah,
we're
I'm
gonna
so
stand.
glad they did that.
Me too. They're like, we'll sit here and watch you.
Yeah,
and that's how it is. So now they have there's pictures and stuff. I should have pulled that stuff up too of all the razor wire.
Yeah,
but
I've seen that. I've seen that.
There's nobody there.
No
illegal immigrants trying to cross. Nobody. They're all going around now. But the more we do it,
well, then they're not. The illegal immigrants aren't going to the main gate where the media is set up with the Humvees and all this other, the armed guards and everything. But I saw a video that was on some guy's Facebook feed where he literally drove by and kept his camera on for like 2.5, almost 3 minutes. He went to the main gate and showed where all of the security forces and the razor wire and all that stuff is. And he stuck his phone out his window and recorded him driving not even a half mile down the road where there's another gate that was just wide open with nobody there. And then
there's pouring in.
Yeah. And then several hundred feet after that, there's an opening where a gate's supposed to have went, but no gate was ever put up. So it's just no wall at all.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's another gate where only one side of it is open, but it's still open nonetheless. And none of the three have any kind of razor wire, no security, no patrols or nothing like that. That's so crazy. People are just walking in by the hundreds, and
state of Texas.
Nobody is moving from the secured gate to do a patrol to go and prevent anybody from going in. Because I mean, I've done patrols all over the world, and when you're trying to secure an area, just your presence alone is enough of a deterrent.
Yeah.
But if you don't say anything or do anything, then these people are just going to keep on moving.
Mm-hmm. And this story that you just pulled up, this from Fox 4, is it?
So this is Dallas Fort Worth. I've not vetted this clip. I just pulled it up, but it does look like it's gonna.
I know this story already. So this is where the government's actually bringing in razor wire to private citizens to put up on, like, the farmers were basically that have borders.
Yeah.
Their farms edge on the border.
Yeah.
They were putting up walls, and the federal government was coming in, tearing down walls that they were putting up on their own private property, saying you are not allowed to do that because you don't have jurisdiction on federal border control. So this is private land, private stuff, and these farmers are telling a story like, I'm finding dead kids, right? Like, to get out a free jail card for a migrant coming over has created a black market for people that really want to come over, because if you have a kid with you, that's your golden ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what they do is they buy a kid. So there's your human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say trafficking is not the right word. Technically, it's smuggling.
It,
Well, if you're buying a kid, it's trafficking regardless. But
Yeah.
but the coyotes that are facilitating people come in, that's smuggling. That's the difference.
Okay.
So
okay.
I learned that kind of recently. But so that they're trafficking children. So they buy a kid. They're like, this is my golden ticket. They jump the border. They do whatever. And then they'll just kill the kid or leave the kid abandoned, and the kid dies. Like, and so these farmers are like patrolling their farmland. They're finding dead kids, and they're like, well, first of all, I don't want anybody on my land. So they build this thing. Biden administration comes in, knocks everything down, removes all the barriers, said you can't do that. So this story that he's talking about here, the state is actually coming in saying, hey, here's razor wire and stuff. Build up. If you guys want it, it's free to you. Come pick it up, or we'll drop it off and create your own border on your land.
So the Biden administration, they know about these dead children everywhere on these farmlands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's
why I try to go back and forth on the conspiracy versus what's actually happening. It's like I try not to get to the point where I am like everything is super nefarious. Some of it could be ignorance, some of it can't. But this is so hard to do that with because it's like the barriers were already up and you came in and took them down. Like you actively removed barriers.
Well, I from a personal standpoint, I always go to the nefarious.
Yeah.
Because if you think the worst, and granted from a tactical standpoint, from a military tactical standpoint, if you're always prepared for the worst, things can only get better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why like in any kind of military scenario that you're training in, they're always going to put you in a lose-lose situation. You're never really going to win when it's mainly when you're talking about training, when it's force on force, they will put you in a suicidal situation. And it's basically designed to see how you think and how you react under pressure, and then how you can overcome all these other different obstacles, you know, basically keeping your head on a swivel, thinking on the fly, and reacting to any and everything. Long and short, adaptability. And if these reports are coming in and videos and stuff of these kids that are being abandoned and or killed by whatever organization that's coming in, on top of having hundreds of thousands illegal immigrants, military age males, come through, and they're just doing god awful things to babies. Like, you can't be that blind or that ignorant to the evidence that's being presented in front of you. So it's like my automatic go-to is, you know, this stuff, you're allowing it to happen, and you might have your hand involved in it. As a president, I don't want to say that, you know, and I'm still going to say my president because he's the president of the United States and that's where I live. I don't want to off the back say he's responsible for any and everything that's going on. But as the president, you have a lot of pull. Yeah. You might not just simply say from an overall governmental standpoint, like, yeah, I'm the president of the United States, I'm going to do whatever I want. Because, you know, you have congressional law, and then you have presidential pardons and stuff like that. But to say that I'm going to remove the wall that you created to prevent what has been happening that you've already told me about, and after I remove the wall, more of this stuff picks up. Yeah. So now I'm going to fix the problem that I facilitated. Yeah. I'm going to give you the razor wire, so instead of a kid dying on your property, he dies on your neighbor's property because I haven't given them the wire just yet. Yeah.
It's horrible, but so I guess the way I maybe I worded that incorrectly, like what I'm thinking is, how nefarious is it? So like, is it to a point where they want the downfall of America, and they know just what we were talking about, the Civil War, the tension that Americans already have, and then let's just add a bunch of wood on the fire with the illegal immigration process, and that will guarantee, it's going to guarantee that nobody is safe? Or is it something nefarious but less so, to where it's like, look, like, if we flood these states, whether they're immigrants or not, doesn't matter. The census is going to come in, and you're going to get more representation based on simple population increase. Doesn't matter, whatever. And therefore, our states, you mentioned Chicago, you have California, you have Arizona, you have all these other states. Like, oh, hey, we get more representatives, which means we can swing laws. Hey, remember the people that let you in this country and gave you that debit card?
Well, you know that they can vote.
They're trying to in some states.
Yeah.
But they can't officially vote yet. They're like pushing for it. But it's not even necessarily that they need to vote. To me, that's not the problem. The problem is when the census comes in and they say our population has increased by X amount, we need more representatives.
Yeah.
Those representatives will be Democrats because that's who let them into the country.
Facts.
Therefore, when it comes to voting on laws and stuff, they have more. Right now, we're like pretty much split. Like a lot of these votes that are coming in are like, oh, it's like 49 to 49, and they're trying to swing like one person.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be a washout because of. So I don't know if that's it. And they're like, look, we know all those kids are dying at the border, but we're turning a blind eye because we need the representatives. That's the less nefarious, like, it's still bad because they're cheating. They're subverting, our U.S. elections to do whatever. But, or is it that these people are so evil and they want to destroy America because it's almost like a scorched earth tactic? Like, isn't it weird that we've had multiple Republican GOP primary debates and we don't even know who the Democrat nominee is?
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know. They don't have anybody.
No.
It's supposed to be Kamala Harris. She's so wildly unpopular, even amongst Democrats, that they can't run her. They've talked about Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even people in California are like, no, look what he did to us.
Yes.
They don't have Gavin Newsom anymore. They try to get Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama would win. I almost can guarantee Michelle Obama would win.
Yes.
Michelle said no. She's like, at no point do I want to be. She complained the whole time during the Obama thing about being in a fishbowl and stuff. She does not want the job.
Yes.
They have nobody. And this is why George Soros and all these people are putting their money, $38 million, I believe, since October behind Nikki Haley, because she's basically Hillary Clinton 2.0.
Yeah.
Coming in. That's the strategy to get Nikki Haley versus whoever the GOP nominee is, whether it's, I don't know if it'll be Donald Trump. I don't know if they'll let him run. That could be, but either way, DeSantis already dropped out. I can't remember if Vivek dropped out, but that's the goal, is just to get that going. But what do they benefit from destroying America unless they're so tied in with China and Russia, like, hey, we can get global power? What's the game? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, have you? Well, you're a firefighter, but have you actually gone to a location that was like an open field burning that you had to put out?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so just open grassland when it's a controlled burn. Well, correction, whether it's controlled or not, controlled burn, wildfire, it's all the same. It's still burning. Once those ashes, everything is done burning and the ashes are settled and the ground is basically scorched, any and everything that is grown in that scorched earth area, it grows bigger, it grows faster, it grows stronger, it's more nutrient rich, it's more vibrant in color. It's the next best thing. So my opinion, when you said, do you think that anybody has any nefarious dealings in the societal breakdown that's actually happening right now? My opinion is yes.
I got you.
Because the more distrust the American people have with American people, and then you add in, 18 other different factors that forces more tension onto those people. And the biggest one is always money. It's America. America is nothing more than a capitalistic country. So you're going to get extremely pissed that my money is now going to somebody else, but the money that's supposed to be going to somebody else should be staying home to take care of homeless vets, people that are, alcohol abusers, drug abusers, so on and so forth. But you don't want to do that. You want to take care of somebody from another country. We are supposed to be in a recession, but how can we be in a recession when you're constantly sending billions and billions of dollars outside of the country? If you can write those kind of blank checks, leave it here.
Yeah.
Fix the stuff that's here. Like my tax dollars, like coming over here a couple of minutes ago, granted, I know it's on a local level, but the roads coming here, I almost smashed my tires on the way coming here. So if you have billions of dollars to send outside the country, you don't got $800 to fix that pothole around the corner. Like there's a lot of different things, and I was talking to my wife about this morning on how the economic status in America 40 years ago, when I was a kid coming up, your parents can go to the grocery store with $150 and buy enough groceries like almost for the month. But you go to the grocery store now with $150, you'll walk out with one bag. Yeah. Wondering like where did all my money go to? I got a gallon of milk, 2 loaves of bread, and like, a 10-pound loaf of ground beef. That might cost you $85. Yeah. But $85 in the late 80s, early 90s, that's enough food to last you, bi-weekly, So it's do you continue on that path to where I spend almost $800 to $1,000 a month on groceries? That's just on groceries. Yeah. So all the other added amenities with, the gas prices inevitably going back up because U.S. magically ran out of oil, even though there's literal mountains full of crude oil. We have oil stacked up to where we won't statistically speaking, we won't run out of oil for at least another almost 200 years. That's just using what we currently have, not including what's reserved in the mountains. Yeah. So I'm like, if we have all of this extra stuff on reserve, and I got it, let's let the reserve, that's a savings account. Yeah. Let that continue to be what it is, but don't make your current situation worse. So later on, you don't have to tap into those reserves. Yeah. And when we inevitably do tap into those reserves, and I believe it's going to be in the near future, probably the next 15, 20 years, after this hardcore leave the world behind scenario, when that actually plays out, then the powers that be will finally see we've either, one way or another, they're going to succeed. Mm-hmm. It's either they've succeeded in collapsing the American economy and the trust in the people and breaking everything down to a point to where it's easier to take over the country from another country's standpoint, because America being what it is, it always sells to the highest bidder. Mm-hmm. Or we've succeeded in getting the people to hate somebody outside of the country to where patriotism and honor for country actually skyrockets. And then everybody will go back to, loving loving one another. And, you can actually depend on your neighbor for simple things the way that it was 40, 50, 60 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope that's the case, man. I hope people can find their humanity again, and it may take a hard time to get us there, but I think we will. We're coming up on, this is like a double episode. We're only supposed to go an hour, and we're coming up on an 1.75 hours. So,
oh wow,
time flies, man.
I didn't realize it was that long.
These podcasts are fun, and you end up losing time. But man, I had a good time talking with you, and
right back at you.
What this will probably do is we'll probably cut this into 2 parts. We'll release like half of it as part 1, and then we'll release the part 2 later. Okay. And that'll get us a 2 episodes. But I'd love to have you back on a live show when we're live, and actually get we'll react to some videos and stuff like that. It may be a little more lighthearted, but of course we're always going to get into politics and keep up with the latest stuff because this stuff's super important to me. It should be important to you guys too, watching this video because it does affect you. And I was trying to really drive that home, but there's so much to talk about that it's like, you know, it's so rather than us cramming it all in, we'll just continue talking about it. And I stay pretty up on it. So we'll bring you guys the latest news stories. And once we released our product, our mystery product, which is coming soon, make sure you guys go out and buy it because this is something that can directly save your life or somebody else's life. I don't want to say that if you don't buy our product, you'll die, but if you don't buy our product, you'll die. It could happen. Yeah, make sure that you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Share the show with your friends. That's the best way to support us. YouTube wants you to think that we are not here. They keep pulling down our content and not letting us post. We've got a meeting next week about going exclusive with Rumble. So we have a deal on the table with Rumble.
Good stuff.
If that happens, that's going to be a game changer. So, and we'll actually be able to bring you guys content. And yeah, so like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Is that it?
Yeah, let me put this ending screen on real quick.
It's pre-recorded, so we can.